We have all these amazing sites, but for me, what makes Jordan special is the people. While being in Jordan here, meeting people makes you understand the real meaning of hospitality here. You'll never be hungry, you'll never be thirsty, and you'll always be treated like family. We don't treat people like tourists. I don't like the word tourists, by the way. We try to use travelers more than tourists, and that's, I would say, how Jordanian people look at our guests.
Welcome back to the 10 Adventures podcast. Today, we're talking all things Jordan, a gem of a country I first discovered in 2023 and fell in love with. Here to guide us through the ins and outs of Jordan is Ayman Abd-AlKareem, co-founder of Experience Jordan, a tourism innovator in Jordan that's brought both walking and cycling holidays to the country. Hi, Ayman. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited to talk about Jordan and learn about things that I didn't know, I didn't get to experience. And you're an expert in this whole area. Can you maybe talk a little bit about your history that took you to becoming someone that's innovating how tourists experience Jordan?
First off, I want to say thank you for having me here. It's always great to share my love for my beautiful country. Many people haven't been to Jordan. They heard about Jordan. Maybe they hear about Petra mainly. And it's great for me to be able to talk about what's there beyond Petra. I was born and raised here in Jordan, studied tourism, history, archaeology, and sustainable tourism. Shortly after I got my license as a tour guide from the Ministry of Tourism here in Jordan, started my first tourism business in 2011. During that time, actually, while I was running my business, through a client of mine, I was introduced to one of my business partners. He was already talking to our third business partner about the idea of starting Experience Jordan. We went on a 5-day hike, and since then we got stuck together. And I've been running Experience Jordan since then. I stopped my first business. It was going well, but I preferred the vision and mission we had established for Experience Jordan. I'm currently running the company here along with an amazing team, crafting tours from our perspective, based on basically being having tourism background, but also being travelers ourselves. Our team they come from different backgrounds. So we have hikers, cyclists, photographers, and we design tours from travelers' perspective as well, where we want people, of course, to connect to the sites of Jordan, like Petra, Wadi Rum, and the Dead Sea. But we also want them to connect to the soul of Jordan and get under the skin of the culture, and meet the people, try the food, and that's that's my history, I would say, and how things started for me.
Can you talk a little bit more about kind of these bucket list places to visit in Jordan? Because I think some people may not fully know, what's entailed in each of these great destinations.
Many people know Jordan because of Petra. Even when I used to be a tour guide, many people who came to Jordan, they thought that they're mainly going to Petra, then everything else is just part of the tour, and they don't really want to put much time there or much thinking there. But when they arrive in the country and they start seeing the different sides, they're blown away, basically. If you go to Wadi Rum, it's like basically walking on Mars. That's where the movie The Martian was filmed. I actually met Matt Damon on one day. That was very interesting. It was in Aqaba on the Red Sea. He was going for a dive early in the morning, trying to avoid the crowd, and I managed to see him quickly. And of course, you have the Dead Sea, which is the lowest point on Earth. Many people heard of the Dead Sea, but going there, it's magical. Floating there, it's not something that you can imagine until you try. You can read a magazine while floating on the Dead Sea. And it's very special if you were floating there, because of the amount of oxygen being under the sea level, around 400 meters below sea level. There is a layer that protects you from the bad UV, basically, so you can get tanned and stay safe at the same time. It's amazing, and you don't get that anywhere around the world. Of course, we have over, I think this year we have 7 UNESCO heritage sites registered in Jordan, and that's also something that not many people know. For me, of course, we have all these amazing sites, but for me, what makes Jordan special is the people. While being in Jordan here, meeting people makes you understand the real meaning of hospitality here. You'll never be hungry, you'll never be thirsty, and you'll always be treated like family. We don't treat people like tourists. I don't like the word tourists, by the way. We try to use travelers more than tourists, and that's, I would say, how Jordanian people look at our guests.
I can't agree more. Everyone I met in Jordan was just so kind and friendly. And it was, having traveled a lot, in some places you're just a number or you're an inconvenience. But in Jordan, it was, everyone was so kind and helpful and friendly. One thing you did mention is the history. And I should have known this, but there's just so much history and it's not all behind, cordoned off. You can kind of go and see history from thousands of years ago and kind of walk right through it, obviously with Petra, but there's lots of other sites. And can you maybe talk a little bit about some of the history people can see, the different epochs of history that are visible in Jordan?
To summarize that, I would say that Jordan is an open air museum. Literally, it's an open air museum. Jordan is a small country. It's the size of Portugal, I would say. It's about 90,000 square meter in total. If you can cross Jordan from north to south, driving within 6 hours, and that's pretty short. So it's a small country with a lot of history. Jordan has been continuously inhabited since the Stone Ages, and that's not everywhere around the world. You can trace history from Stone Ages all the way to the current time. Of course, you go through Greek, Romans, Byzantine, Nabateans. That's all while you're going through Jordan. If you walk through any of the trails in Jordan, within one day, you can pass by Roman ruins, Ottoman village, 500 years old, so 2,000-year old, then 500 years old. Then again, you find a Byzantine church from the 3rd century or the 4th century. That's all within one day. Then you encounter a Bedouin family who's been living in the desert, secluded for hundreds of years. That's all within one day. So that's something that you don't find anywhere around the world within a very short period of time.
Now, one thing I think is really unique about Jordan is some of the work around sustainable tourism, particularly around self-powered tourism. And I got to do some bike riding and hiking in Jordan. I was kind of just blown away. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the Jordan Trail, which is this phenomenal walking route?
Sure, of course. That's actually one of my favorite topics, the Jordan Trail. It's because we, as a company, we've witnessed also the development of the trail. It was developed over 20 years at least by a group of companies, individuals, hikers, outdoor enthusiasts, and the ideas was being polished over the years, and the concept was to create a trail that connects the country from north to south, going through the different communities and villages, and support the communities who live there, and at the same time allow travelers to spend more time and to travel slowly and have enough time to immerse in the culture and and try the hospitality and the food and all of that while hiking as well. The Jordan Trail is about 650 kilometers, starting from Qais in the northern part of Jordan, going all the way to the south, ending at the Red Sea in Aqaba. So basically, while hiking through the trail, you go through at least I think this year they added more villages, so it's about 55 villages now. The trail goes through these villages. You can stay in homestays, you can stay in cozy guest houses, you can stay in hotels, of course, as well, and you can camp. There are some amazing scenic campsites along the way where you can camp and get support from the local community. They can provide you with the full support or even just a water drop along the trail. So it's a combination of history, nature, culture. You start in the north where it's green, lush, basically mountains. You go down south to through some of the reserves like Dana Reserve, which is a biosphere reserve. You go through 4 different climates in one day in Dana Reserve, which is amazing. Basically, you start at the Mediterranean climate and you end at the Arabian desert climate within one day, going through 2 other climates. They call them the Irano-Turanian and the Afro-Sudanese. All of that in one day. So you see, for example, the cypress trees, and you end up seeing acacia trees at the end of the day. That doesn't happen everywhere. And you continue along the Jordan Trail. You enter Petra through the back door. Not many people knows that Petra has a back door. For me, it's the nicest way to enter Petra. Everyone goes through the main visitor center of Petra. On your Jordan holiday adventure, people go through the back door. Basically, it's amazing. Sometimes you don't see anyone in the morning except yourself, your guide, and the people who are walking with you. Then the first monument you would see is the monastery, which is the biggest facade in Petra. People knows Petra as the treasury. Of course, Petra has more than 700 facade inside, but the famous photo is the treasury, the main monument you see on most photos. For me, it's amazing. It has lots of details influenced from many cultures and civilizations, but the monastery for me is magnificent because you see the tip of the urn, which is it's carved on top of the monastery, far away before you get to Petra. Then you start getting closer and you see more and more of that gigantic monument. You can't get the scale of the site and the facades unless you are inside Petra. I've guided thousands of people through Petra when I used to be a tour guide, and I never felt bored of entering Petra. Every day I enter Petra, I still have the same wow effect that I get entering Petra.
I walked through the back door and it was a full day walking through Petra. And I remember thinking I could have spent 2 or 3 more days there because I thought it was just 1 or 2, buildings carved into the stone, but there was so much there to explore. And it was just, again, you're kind of like your jaw drops and then you walk a bit and your jaw drops again. And it was just this spectacular place. And I was so thankful to have that first half of the day where there was nobody on the trail and you could kind of just enjoy it. And then all of a sudden you hit the people who had got to the front gate at 8 a.m. And then it changed a little bit. But by that point, we were right in the heart of Petra. And, you didn't notice the people. You just noticed just this incredible archaeological oasis that was just, mind-blowing.
Once you even leave Petra, you think that you left the site. The archaeological park itself is huge as well. But the mountains of Petra, where the Nabateans who carved Petra lived for many years, they left a lot of monuments for you to see, a lot of history, a lot of wine presses, olive presses, the water canals that they used to, that they carved in the mountains to direct water to Petra. Petra was a hidden city. The Nabateans didn't want people to find Petra easily. They kept themselves protected between the mountains. They were traders. They were not fighters. So they wanted to only bring people that they trust and they want to trade with to bring them to the site. So the city was hidden between the mountains, and around the mountains you would see the amazing engineering and carving skills that the Nabateans had. So walking around Petra is a huge part of the experience. I usually recommend at least 3 days in Petra, not 1 day. 1 day is enough to see, I would call it a flash tour only, to see the treasury and maybe a couple of other monuments. But you need at least 3 days to see the trails of Petra. You can spend up to 1 week in Petra easily if you're into hiking and walking. But 3 days would be the recommendation from my side.
When's the best time to do the Jordan Trail? I think all of us think, Jordan's going to be really hot. Does that mean there's certain months that maybe are uncomfortable and people should maybe avoid?
Honestly, I always say it, people who are into outdoors, they know this. There is no such thing as bad weather. It's bad preparation and bad clothing. So I would say every day is a good day to hike on the Jordan Trail. However, if you want to if you don't like the heat and you cannot tolerate the heat, if you're coming from a cold city, I would say, I would avoid August only for hiking. If you're planning to visit places like Petra, Wadi Rum, the Dead Sea, anytime is a good time. There is no bad time. The peak season in Jordan is March and fall. We can't ignore that. That's the sweet spot, I would say, for hikers and cyclists to come to Jordan. But I personally recommend the shoulder season, which is May, June, and September, December. These are my favorite months, honestly, when sites are less crowded, when the weather is cooler. And now with the climate change, we can't really predict the weather anymore. So we just prepare, have the right gear available, and dress well, get prepared for rain and sun. Depends, of course, when you come to Jordan. And yeah, we just adapt. The guides in Jordan are well trained. The hiking guides, they're all first aid trained as well. And they know how to hike in hot days and cold days. When it's very hot, when it's above, I would say, 35 degrees, we start very early in the morning. We take long breaks around midday, then we start again in the afternoon. When it's cold, of course, we depends on if it's cold only, we hike anyway. If it's rainy, if it gets muddy, there are detours on the trail that people can do, and we never take the risk. The trail is designed in a way that doesn't go through many valleys where there is a chance for flash floods and all of that. Even if there is a chance, people, of course, always can take a detour, and the trips are designed in a way to avoid these basically locations, and when there is a chance for rain or floods, I would say.
You talked about the entire Jordan Trail. A lot of people can't take time off to do the whole trail. Are there certain sections that are shorter that are really popular? And if so, kind of what are those starting and end points?
Definitely. There is one specific section that was ranked by National Geographic as one of the best new 15 trails in the world. It's the section from Dana to Petra. It's a 5-day hike. It can be done in 5 days. It can be done in 6 days. It starts in Dana Reserve, which is the biosphere I mentioned earlier, and it ends in Petra, entering Petra through the back door. This is one of the most famous sections. Another famous section called Petra to Wadi Rum. For me, this one is still a virgin trail. It's untouched. Less people have done that trail. It's becoming more and more popular. I would say now it's a good time to do it. I personally prefer trails that are still untouched. That's the way we design the tours in general. We like to follow the off the beaten path. We don't want to be walking around when there are many travelers. Dana to Petra is still untouched as well. It's still, but it's getting more and more popular. Petra to Wadi Rum is the new popular trail as well. Those two sections are the most popular trails in the Jordan Trail. For people who like to explore the greener part of Jordan, usually they can do a couple of days in the north, then they can do some more time in the south. Of course, Jordan for me is more, it's more of a desert destination. I like the desert part. The desert is not just the sandy desert that people have in mind. The desert that we have is very scenic. It's it's a mix of desert. You have the arid desert, you have the colored rock formations, you have the sandstone, you have the basalt, you have the granite mountains. So our desert is not just a plain sandy desert. It's an amazing desert.
Yeah, Wadi Rum was just, it blew me away. I think I spent 3 days there, and I just sat in this red sand. I couldn't see anything other than these incredible rock formations. Little crocuses or flowers were popping up because I guess it had rained recently. But
Yeah.
and all of us said, this is just such a powerful place. And I've never had that anywhere else on earth. But it was just, just this really special experience. At night, we'd have a big bonfire and cook tea by the bonfire, and then go out in these converted Toyota trucks.
Yeah.
And, we'd go and look at these, go on hikes, see these great places. We got to go see the owner of the place we're staying. He had his camel herd. We got to go see all his camels, and like it's just all these things I've never experienced. And for me, I didn't expect it, but Wadi Rum was really the highlight, not just of Jordan, but of like kind of all the trips I've done. I keep saying to my wife, like, we have to take the kids to Wadi Rum because there's something there that I haven't experienced anywhere else. And you're right, the desert there, desert in general is just so spectacular.
Definitely. It's a huge playground for kids. Talking about kids, we have a lot of families visiting when they go to Wadi Rum and they see the sand, the colored sand everywhere. Even the sand has like three different colors in Jordan. We have red, orange, and white sand in Wadi Rum, and we have freestanding mountains that makes you feel that you're on Mars, literally on Mars. Um, Talking about camels, you mentioned camels. One very interesting thing that we have in Jordan, that we have actually a camels racing federation, because we have a camel race that happens once a year in the desert of Wadi Rum. It's amazing. If people are there around that time, they can go and basically just enjoy watching the camel race.
One thing I hear people talk about is they're concerned about going to Jordan because of the situation, the conflict in Gaza right now. Can you maybe share, is now a good time to go to Jordan?
Yes, of course, it is a good time. It's actually, for me, I would call it the smart traveler's time to go to Jordan, because, the only real danger that people basically have in Jordan is eating too much hummus and not wanting to eat. Literally, that's in my basically opinion, is the real danger. Uh, of course, but the question is valid, and naturally people worry about the region as a whole. They see Jordan as a small country in the middle of the Middle East, but they don't know that we're over 200 miles far from Gaza, which is the distance between Paris to Amsterdam. So people are not aware of these facts. Of course, in Jordan, we have solo women travelers the whole time. Now we actually at the moment we have a female traveler doing the full Jordan Trail on her own. Uh, uh, she's not even getting any support from tour companies. She's hiking on her own, getting the support from local communities only, who are based on the Jordan Trail. And on the U.S. State Department ranked Jordan as level 1 when it comes to safety, which is same as Italy. That's now. So these are small facts. I don't like to say Jordan is safe. I like to state facts and let people decide if it's safe or not.
You talked a little bit about food, and some people may not know what Jordan cuisine is like. I loved it, especially the coffee with cardamom. That was like just, and all the that was a real highlight. But can you maybe talk about some of the foods that people just fall in love with?
Yeah, what was your favorite dish? I'm curious to hear.
So I like falafel. And I don't know if Jordan is a specialist in falafels, but it was interesting. Here in Canada, I would have a falafel sandwich, but in Jordan, I'd get like this plate of hummus, some other sauces, or a baba ganoush, I think, or something. And then I get the balls and I'd put it all together, lots of vegetables. I think that was my favorite, but that's what I always eat. But yeah, it was always fresh is what I really liked. It was always fresh, always healthy.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like really nice flavors.
Definitely. I'll explain it in a different way. Jordan is located on in the middle of the Middle East. We have the Gulf of Aqaba in the south, and if you continue north, you would go to Syria all the way to Rome, and that's actually where the word all roads lead to Rome came from, because Jordan is located in the middle of the trade route. So basically, we got the cuisine in Jordan was developed over time based on the different cultures that came through Jordan. So it's a really diverse cuisine that we have here. So what you get in Turkey, what you get in India, what you get in the Middle East in general, in the Levant region, you would find in Jordan. We took all of it and we developed it in our way. Plus, of course, we have our own dishes. Like the national dish of Jordan is amazing. I would be happy to eat it every day, but if you eat it, you don't go to work. You need to sleep after it. So our national dish called mansaf. Mansaf, it's made out of lamb cooked in fermented, dried yogurt that turned into a sauce, of course. And we cook the lamb inside for 3 or 4 hours, and we serve it with rice that's cooked with turmeric. It's a delicious dish. We sprinkle almonds or pine nuts on top. It's delicious. Most people eat it with hands. Of course, you're allowed to eat it with a spoon as well. That's the national dish. We make it on celebrations and we make it on the weekend. And as you said, the food in Jordan in general is very healthy. Our cuisine includes rice, meat in general. We have fish. We have lots of veggies. We have homemade jams, freshly baked bread. Uh, so it's very diverse, and a lot of sweet tea, of course. Many people or people like tea in Jordan. It's a coffee and tea culture. Uh, Many people say it's coffee culture, but for people who goes to the outdoors, they know that it's tea culture when you go to the Bedouin communities.
Cycling is also becoming more popular. And I know there's a Jordan bike trail project. Can you talk a little bit about what cycling's like in Jordan now and what this project's about?
The project started back in 2015. We tried offering cycling tours to international travelers, and we didn't get much bookings. I would say in 1 year we had less than 10 cyclists coming. We were very disappointed. We started researching why are we not getting enough cyclists. So we took a step backward, and we started looking online, and we found that the main reason is that we don't have much content about cycling in Jordan. So that's when we started working on developing the bike trail. Actually, my business partner, Matt, he jumped on the bike along with some of our team members, and he cycled across the country, mapping the trail. We did some homework in the office before, mapping the different sections, then on the ground, testing the route, basically identifying the best sections, created the website, and put content together. We started gathering notes for local communities along the way, emergency exits, emergency numbers, accommodation option, which includes homestays, campsites, hotels. We put everything together in one website, and we started promoting the cycling as a destination, not as a company. We truly believe that promoting the cycling culture as a destination will bring cyclists to the country. So solo cyclists who want to cycle on their own, and cyclists who want to join group tours basically in the country. And it worked out. We found last year only we had over 600 cyclists coming as travelers basically with tour company. That's plus the individual cyclists who come on their own. So the cycling trail helped massively promote the cycling culture. The cycling trail goes across the country also from north to south. We leveraged the experience that we gained helping with the development of the Jordan hiking trail. So basically we developed the bike trail using the same concept, gathering the information, putting everything in one website. It's about 730 kilometers, starting in the north in Qais, ending in Aqaba at the coast of the Red Sea. It takes about 14 days to ride, going through all the sections. It's a mixed kind of terrain, so we have about 50% tarmac and 50% off-road, following gravel roads and Bedouin, old Bedouin tracks, basically. We designed it in a way, basically, that most of the uphills are tarmac and most of the downhills are off-road, so to make it more accessible.
Thank you for doing that as well. There's nothing worse than trying to go uphill in like kind of any sort of sand. So
And most travelers like to do it with support of tour companies, mainly because the trail is designed to have a four-wheel truck following you to offer support, technical support, mechanical support, and to also carry water and your luggage with you as well. So that's how we do it. On your Jordan holiday adventure, you have 2 days of cycling, the best two sections of the trail. For me, those 2 days are incredible because you start near Petra and you end in Wadi Rum. So two of the best sections or two of the best sites in Jordan, if not in the world. So you do those 2 days. You go through Bedouin community on the way where you stop and have tea before you continue all the way to Wadi Rum. The views are amazing. You start near Petra in the mountains area and you keep descending till you get to Wadi Rum. Lots of elevations, gain and loss, and that means more views and more basically spots where you can have really nice scenic routes. That's how the trail was designed, basically.
Yeah, the views are spectacular, and it's a bit like gravel riding, except for there's a few parts where you're actually in sand, and you learn quickly how to ride in sand. Here in Canada, we don't have a lot of sand, so for me, it was a new experience. But yeah, it's just one thing you just don't expect, just these expansive views where, when you're driving, you don't really notice the scenery, but when you're going slow on a bike, as the scenery opens up, it's just such a special experience.
Definitely, especially that you're not just cycling. The trail is designed in a way that you stop by the main highlights. So you go through Dana, you go through Petra, you go through Wadi Rum. You get to experience all the highlights of Jordan while you are on a bike. So it's a really sustainable way of travel, low carbon emission. You're covering the highlights of the country, and at the same time, you're staying healthy and fit, and you have time to indulge and immerse yourself in the culture. You meet a lot of locals along the way. And for me, traveling without meeting the local community, it's not really traveling. It's just ticking a checklist, and that's not what we try to promote in Jordan. Jordan is a small country. We're all about responsible travelers, people who really want to dig deep in the culture and learn more about the history and the people who live in Jordan. Sites they're just stones, they're rocks. If you don't meet the people, if you don't learn the history of these sites, the real history that you hear from the local communities who live in these sites, that's what gives the soul to the places you visit.
Ayman, that's a beautiful way to end this discussion. Thank you so much for taking time to chat and share so much about Jordan.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I really hope that after this conversation, we have more people coming to Jordan to learn more, not just by hearing, but also by seeing on the ground and experiencing the real Jordan. Jordan is not just it's not a visit, it's an experience that really stays with you.
I'm sure they will. I'm going to put links to some of the trips we discussed in the show notes. So you can check it out. I'm just going to say, at least for me, the photos did not prepare me for Jordan. In real life, it's one of those places that when you see it, it's just so powerful. And with that, thank you for listening to this episode of the 10 Adventures podcast. If you like the show, why not subscribe, give us a like, or drop a comment on one of the episodes. And if you're looking to plan an adventure of your own, why not check out our website, 10adventures.com, where we have over 1,000 different adventures spread across 85 countries. We will be back next week to explore the world and hear about more epic adventures. Bye-bye. Start planning your own adventure by visiting us at 10adventures.com and listen to other episodes of the 10 Adventures podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you find your podcasts.